She stepped off the plane with the quiet dignity of someone who had spent the last 6 weeks saving lives. Dr. Evelyn Carter, a renowned infectious disease expert, had just returned from Sierra Leone, where she'd led a medical response team, battling a deadly outbreak. Her clothes still carried the scent of antiseptic and tropical rain. Her heart, however, was heavy, not from exhaustion, but from the weight of knowing that her work, though vital, was often invisible. She was used to being overlooked, but what happened next would not be overlooked. It would be burned into the conscience of a nation. At Dulles International Airport, the air was thick with routine. Passengers shuffled through customs, agents scanned documents, and the hum of tired travelers filled the space. Evelyn approached the counter with her passport in hand, her expression calm, her posture poised. The officer, Derek Holt, barely glanced at her before his eyes narrowed. He took the passport, flipped through it, and frowned. "This doesn't look right," he muttered. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" she asked, her voice firm but respectful. Holt didn't answer. Instead, he called over 2 more officers. They surrounded her, creating a wall of suspicion. "Step aside," one barked. "We need to verify this document." Evelyn complied, her pulse steady. She had nothing to hide. But what followed was not verification. It was violation. Holt held her passport over a trash bin, lit a match, and dropped it onto the pages. Flames licked the edges, curling the corners into ash. Evelyn gasped. "That's a federal document," she cried. "You can't—" "It's fake," Holt snapped. "You're not who you say you are." The fire crackled. The crowd around them froze. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "Is this really happening?" Evelyn stood motionless, watching. Her identity burn, her name, her history, her right to return home. She felt the sting of humiliation, the heat of injustice. But she did not cry. Not yet. She looked Holt in the eye and said, "Call your supervisor. Now." Holt scoffed, but something in her tone made him hesitate. He radioed in. Minutes later, a senior officer arrived. Evelyn repeated her name. "Dr. Evelyn Carter, I'm a U.S. citizen, and I'm the wife of Attorney General Malik Carter." Silence fell. The officer blinked. Holt paled. "Wait, what?" The panic was immediate. Apologies tumbled out. "Ma'am, we didn't know. There's been a misunderstanding. We'll fix this." But Evelyn didn't want apologies. She wanted accountability. She wanted answers. She wanted justice. "You burned my passport," she said slowly. "You accused me of fraud. You humiliated me in public. Because I'm black. Because you assumed I didn't belong." Holt tried to speak, but Evelyn raised a hand. "Save it. I'm not here for your excuses. I'm here for the truth." That night, in her Georgetown brownstone, Evelyn sat with her husband. Malik listened in silence as she recounted every detail. His jaw clenched. His eyes burned. "They didn't just disrespect you," he said. "They disrespected the office, the Constitution, the very idea of justice." Evelyn nodded. "But this isn't just about me. It's about every black woman who's been questioned, doubted, dismissed. It's about the system that lets this happen." Malik reached for her hand. "Then let's make it about change." The next morning, Evelyn met with her longtime friend and civil rights attorney, Jada Monroe. Together, they drafted a lawsuit, not just for damages, but for reform. They demanded an investigation into racial profiling at airports, mandatory, bias training for officers, a public apology, and disciplinary action against Holt. The media caught wind of the story. Headlines blared, AG's wife targeted in airport scandal. Passport burned in racial profiling incident. Justice. On trial. Evelyn became a symbol, not of victimhood, but of resistance. She spoke at rallies, her voice unwavering. "I am not an exception," she told the crowd at Lafayette Square. "I am a reflection of every black traveler who's been stopped, searched, and silenced, of every woman whose dignity was dismissed. We are not invisible. We are undeniable." The crowd erupted. Signs waved, chants rose. "Justice for Evelyn! End racial profiling! We belong!" In court, Holt sat stiffly, his arrogance cracking under pressure. The footage played, him burning the passport, Evelyn's calm. Defiance, the stunned witnesses. The judge leaned forward. "Officer Holt, do you understand the gravity of your actions?" Holt stammered. I thought it was fake. I didn't know who she was." "That's the problem," the judge replied. "You didn't know, and you didn't care." Evelyn took the stand. Her testimony was measured, powerful. She spoke of her work in Sierra Leone, her commitment to public health, her pride in her heritage. She described the moment her passport burned, not just as a physical act, but as a metaphor. "They tried to erase me," she said, "but I am not erasable. I am not disposable. I am not a mistake." The courtroom was silent. Even Holt looked down. The verdict came swiftly. Evelyn won. The court ordered reforms. Holt was suspended. The airport issued a formal apology, but Evelyn didn't stop there. She launched an initiative, Passports of Dignity, to support travelers of color facing discrimination. She partnered with advocacy groups, trained officers, and spoke at universities. Her story became a case study in law schools, a lesson in courage, a call to action. Flashbacks to her time in Sierra Leone reminded viewers of her strength. She had faced disease, despair, and death. She had held the hands of dying children, comforted grieving mothers, and fought for every breath. And yet, it was in her own country, at her own airport, that she faced her most personal battle. A battle not against illness, but against ignorance. Evelyn's journey resonated because it was not just hers. It was every black woman's story. Every moment of being doubted, dismissed, disrespected. But it was also a story of pride, of standing tall, of refusing to be broken. Her voice became a beacon, her fight a movement. In the final scene of her story, Evelyn walks through the same airport, this time with a new passport, a new purpose, and a quiet smile. Officers nod respectfully. Travelers recognize her. A young black girl watches her, pass and whispers to her mother, "That's Dr. Carter. She's the reason I want to be brave." And Evelyn, hearing those words, knows the fire didn't destroy her. It forged her into a symbol, into a leader, into a legacy, because dignity, once claimed, cannot be burned.